Today I have a very special surprise for you. I have together with me no other than the winners of Microsoft Imagine Cup, which is the global competition for high-tech students. And it's all about the most innovative technical ideas. And I have with me Marek Novák and Barbara Suchanová, who are students from the Czech Technical University in Prague. And they found the time to talk to me, and I'm so grateful. Welcome. Thank you so much. How does it feel? You're the winners. My God. For our audiences, those guys had to beat more than 50 teams from all over the world. I mean, you're amazing.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
We still didn't realize it yet.
Yeah.
Because the competition was in 2 days. It was from the early morning to the late evening, and it all happened so quickly that we are here in the Czech Republic and we still didn't realize it. But we are really happy that we could be part of this competition and that we could be in the top 10 and then finally in just minute.
Finals and winners.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's amazing. Yeah.
It was like a home dream, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Well, tell me about your solution.
So the X.GLU, the product, is the complete solution for the families with diabetic children. It makes the treatment cheaper and easier to manage, and it gives parents complete control over the child's condition.
Okay, what kind of control?
So, for example, if the child have hyper or hypoglycemia, the parent get a real-time notification with the place where the child is, and they worry less.
I see, because they know exactly what is happening and
Yeah.
where the child is. Okay, that's very convenient. All right. Okay. Well, your team, we're missing one of your team members, Tomáš,
Yeah.
right? How did you guys get together?
So the X.GLU project started at the end of the year 2015, where I've also met Barbara and Tomáš in the Czech Technical University Media Laboratory, where we were assigned different projects. We were assigned a project from the Internet of Things or IoT area, and I specifically was looking for new ways to power electronic devices. And one of the ways was to power electronic devices by using energy which is radiated by the smartphone. So at the same time,
Energy radiated from the smartphone?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Through
That sounds like Japanese to me.
It's through the NFC, for example. If you pay in a store, you just tap the card and the card is powered using the waves generated by the card reader.
Wow, okay.
At the same time, I saw an opportunity in pharmaceutical markets, where blood glucose meters are used every day by millions of diabetics. So together with Tomáš, we've decided to do something about that. And I've come with a prototype of a hardware which looks like a credit card. These are our current prototypes.
The thinnest
Yes,
glucometers in the world,
yes, the
right?
thinnest and patented glucose meters in the world. And together with Tomáš, I've completed the first battery-less iteration of the hardware, and Tomáš was also responsible for the first version of the smartphone app, which was used pretty much to read the values from the glucose meter.
Right.
And after some time, we saw a great opportunity in competing in an Imaging Cup contest. Because we've defined a significant group of diabetics, which are children diabetics, and we thought we could make a real success and just push the technology forward in this area, because large pharmaceutical companies forgot completely about the diabetic children. Currently, glucose meters didn't innovate for the last 15 or 20 years.
Right.
That was our main motivation. So I was in Imaging Cup, I was responsible for the hardware, while Barbara was responsible for the mobile app and the design, and Tomáš was responsible for the cloud.
Right, yeah. So you wanted to have a solution targeted to children to kind of make their life a little bit easier, right?
Yes.
It's already hard with the diabetes, so let's make it easier. Yeah.
Yes, to make the life easier, and I think it will sound a little bit strange, but we wanted to make diabetes more fun to the child, because when you make something funny for the child, they are more motivated. They are much more motivated to go for it, to try to get the discipline.
Right, and in this particular case, they need to be motivated to measure their glucose levels, right? Because if they don't, they could be in trouble. No? There's serious health conditions, right?
Exactly, like blindness or other disabilities. So
right.
It's really
So I know that you have developed little games to make it nice, kind of for the child to play with, and it motivates them to measure.
Gamification, which contains points and rewards, and
yes.
it's all based on this.
Wonderful. Well, let's talk about the competition. I'm particularly interested in how you prepared for the competition. For our audience, in order for these guys to participate in the world competition, they first needed to participate in the Czech and Slovak competition. Obviously, they won. Yeah. So how did you prepare for that? For the national competition?
Yeah, for the national, we participated in bootcamp here in Microsoft, and there was the presentation bootcamp also. So we took like the basic principle of presentation, why, how, what. So it was our first presentation. I think it was good enough. And then we met you for the world finals, which we really appreciated. And we had like 5 weeks preparation before we really left to Redmond to present it. It was like weekly sessions, and every session was a bit different. The first session was, if I remember it right, it was like that you wanted to know what we really do. You wanted to go deeply. What is our goal? What we are? What is
like
our problem?
Essence,
we are
right? The essence of the business, what the solution is all about.
So I think that was a good approach. And next sessions were focused on what is our real problem we are resolving, and just brainstorming about the real problems we want to present later, because there are many problems we are solving, but just cherry pick the important ones and then find the nice solutions in words to present the judges. I think the brainstorming was the next session. And then we were just creating the presentation, including the scripts, which are really important, and many types of presentation, because we needed to prepare for 5, 10 minutes, finally 3 minutes, 2 minutes pitches, so it was really intense. And I think we got it all. If Mike wants to add something.
So we did the preparations like 5 weeks prior to the contest, and there was 1 weekly session of about 2 hours, and each session was focused on something slightly different, but eventually it was all in order to build the pitches, the different versions of the pitches. Exactly. Now I want to ask you both, what do you think helped you most during these preparations? Was it defining the scripts? Was it thinking of the audience, how to approach them, the argumentation? Was it how to actually deliver the presentation with the body language? What helped you most, Barbara?
I think the biggest difference in comparison to our first presentation in Bratislava, it was that we brainstormed together at the beginning, and we found really important things we want to enhance and say to judges. I think that the story behind that is really important, and we found out really nice structure of the presentation. We could remember it nice. And also it was really good that you teach us the body language. We really didn't do it before, and before the semi-final presentation, which we really did well, I think. Maybe it helped us because it was the best, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Guys, I saw their final rehearsals and they were absolutely amazing. So I was almost sure that they were going to win. Yeah. Mark, is there anything that helped you specifically?
It is similar to Bara, maybe defining the subject clearly, finding the main selling points was pretty important to me. And as for the presentation itself, finding a good story really helped me, because I could remember the whole presentation much more easier.
Yeah. Absolutely, the story. We always work on stories. Stories are so important, and not only for the reason that you have just said, that it helps us to remember what we want to say to our audience, but story is so powerful because it generates that emotion, right, and it connects with the audience. And now I want to know, what do you think, Barbara, is like the secret of the greatest pitches?
For example, or the 3 main points, maybe I would say that the practice makes master. So
yes.
Definitely practice. Like Steve Jobs said that for 1 minute of the presentation we have to spend 10 hours of practicing.
Yes.
We didn't do it like that, but almost, I would say. Then definitely focus on the details. It doesn't matter if it's a design or if artifacts. Just focus on the details, because the others, your concurrents, don't need to focus on the details, and this is your advantage in final. For example, the design, you have to...
The design of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, also on the whole project, of course, also. But you have to like your slides, you have to really love it like you designed it, because if you don't like it, the audience won't like it either.
Yeah, it's your baby, you need to love it, nurture it, right, and then deliver it with power, right?
And the third thing, I would say also know your not enemies, but don't know the good word. But before we left to Redmond, I really study all our teams. What are the weaknesses which are different, which are really close to our project? So I really studied into deep these projects, and then I focus on their weaknesses and I enhance it in the presentation. For example, the country's national health system, that we have bigger percentage than the others. It's just a detail, but it's important, I think.
Right. Okay.
That's just got into my mind now.
Mark, for you, the secrets of the greatest pitches.
I will try to address this from investor point of view, because the goal of every startup is, of course, to get an investor, to get the product to the market. So the most important things are that first you should know your competition and know your weaknesses. Every startup has some weaknesses, even X.GLU. And by knowing them, you can address those issues in the future and tell the investor that you know there are these weaknesses, so you can work on them. And then, maybe even more important, don't be too stubborn. I know that your idea is the best, you've worked on it for the last 2 or 3 years, but basically everyone makes mistakes. I make mistakes, you make mistakes. So don't try to push too hard, don't try to be right every time, and try to learn from investors, from your mentors.
Right, okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Mark, because many of the people pitching in front of the investors, they obviously love their project, but they try to defend it so hard that they almost, push away the investors. They don't want to listen to them. The investors' comments offend them, and they react in a very defensive manner. So you're absolutely right. We need to listen to the investors, because they're obviously very experienced and they're saying something because of a reason, right? So we need to listen. Yeah, I was asking about the secret of the greatest pitches, and you already went further into giving specific advices to people who need to pitch at competitions or pitch in front of the investors, and you kind of bringing them specific advice. Yeah, so be humble, right? And listen to what they have to say, and be kind of aware of your strengths and also of your weaknesses, in case they ask you, how to respond. Right?
And also maybe the third thing is that it doesn't matter if you are pitching to customers or to the investors. It's all about creating a relationship. So try to be nice during the presentation. If you get some criticism, just accept it and maybe talk to the person afterwards. Don't try to be stubborn.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's all about relationships, right? Many of the investors, they always say, what we're looking, or the company that we are willing to invest in must be a company which has got a fantastic solution for which there is a significant market. So I as an investor will make money, but I need to know that it's a good team that I will be able to work with nicely during a long period of time. That's super important. So it's all about building relationships.
Because sometimes investor doesn't invest in the project, but invest in the team.
They invest in the people. Totally. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Anything else, Mark, you think that our people who are pitching must absolutely do or include in their pitches in order to win the attention of the investors, win their trust? Is there anything?
It's about all the credibility. Try to include all your successes or all your success in your presentation, as well as the rest of the team. Why the team is the best to solve this actual problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so why your team? Yeah. As for the solution, I think we already covered that, right? That we need to have a nice story.
Yeah, they should understand what is the problem,
Yeah.
because then they know if they want to be involved in this problem and they're solving.
Absolutely. Yeah, so a story is a nice way to make them see that straight away. Okay, there's a problem and our solution addresses it in this and that way, right? Anything else that you would give as an advice to people pitching?
Yeah, be positive, I think.
Okay.
Before the presentation you have a lot of stress, like a lot. Even, you know, when you are training at home, you think you make 0 faults, but then you have the stress. So for example, I advise to evoke stress somehow by sport or somehow, and then try to do the presentation in this stress and then find your weaknesses. It's a good
Okay,
solution.
you were telling me about going running, right?
Yeah.
You go running before the presentation
Yeah.
and you go over in your head through the presentation
Yeah.
whilst running, right?
Yeah.
And that way you detect,
I did it
okay,
like
that's
night before we left to Redmond.
Okay.
It's really night.
Yes. Sport is wonderful. I mean, to me, I also run or I do yoga, and every time I have an important performance, I go and do sport because to me it just makes me relax. It makes me change perspectives. Maybe I'm too much in my head. Oh my God, is my presentation going to be okay? Will they like it? What will they think of me? And suddenly, you know, I do my half an hour run and I come back and I'm like, oh, this is actually a wonderful opportunity, right? That we have to present. And let's just let's enjoy it. Let's give the best of us and enjoy it. Yeah, great. Anything else? Okay, so we had be ready for the stressful situations, or do sports or whatever helps you to calm the nerves down. Have a good story, a story that clearly illustrates what your solution is all about, how different it is to the solutions of the competitors, and and how your solution addresses the problem, right? What else did we mention?
Listen to the criticism.
Listen,
and
be open,
be humble.
yeah. Be humble, be open, and if you pitch, don't get defensive. Keep the ego in check, and just listen, because the people in front of you, they sometimes know more than you about maybe about the sector that you work in, not about your solution, but about the sector that you work in. Yeah. So guys, thank you so much.
Me too. Really grateful that we could meet you and thank you for everything.
I mean, for me, it was just a tremendous pleasure, and quite honestly, I have never worked with a team that worked so hard. And also, I want to tell you that since the first moment I met X.GLU, they were saying, we need to win, we're going to win. Yeah, you were actually the first people that I met that, you know, you had it clear, you wanted to win. And the way they said it to me, I was like, all right, we need to make you win. And then you worked so hard. I have never worked with a team that worked so hard and you know, feel that you deserve all the success. And I know that you have this wonderful solution that can make difference to so many people. And I know that your intentions are so good, so for me it was such a pleasure. And in addition, I have to tell you that those guys are 23 years old. Oh my God, I mean, you have all my respect. You are so young and you have already achieved so much, it's amazing. So the world
Not
is
yet.
yours, and we will all be supporting you, and I'm so
Thank
happy,
you.
really. And you have represented the Czech Republic in the
Yeah.
best possible way. So congratulations, you're absolutely amazing. And I will definitely continue talking to you, and I will surely bring you again to my show. So thank you.
Okay, thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
I extracted some useful insights from this interview, and here you have 2 summary slides. I hope it helps you.